Hey everybody, I'm Sara Wiseman, and today we're going to talk about past lives and past life regressions and how they relate to your experience in this lifetime. So, a lot of people get super excited about this idea of past life regressions, and they're pretty sure that they're going to discover like something amazing about themselves that will make everything make sense and kind of all the pieces will come together. And, probably they will. So, however, as a caveat, I want to explain that what you discover in a past life may or may not come up as, you were Cleopatra, or you ruled Atlantis, or you were King Tut, or King Tut's personal assistant, or you were one of Jesus's apostles, which comes up a lot, and you were Elvis. These kinds of celebrity past lives. Um, Sometimes we are told by seers, people in this field, psychics, and so forth, that we have these celebrity past lives, and I think we need to be really careful about that in this field of being a psychic or other person doing this work. We have the same desire to, well, we have two things. We have an egoic filter that everything comes through, and we also have the same desire to please people and want to tell people good news, right? And so sometimes in past life, when past lives come up, people provide these past lives that may or may not be accurate. And of course, we all want to hear fantastic things about ourselves, and we all want people who see things to say, we're so special and so forth. So whether it's valid or not, that's I don't know. All situations are different, but it's important to be cautious and to be skeptical and really don't let anyone else tell you who you were in a past life. That's part of your soul work. That's part of what you're here to discover for yourself. It's part of your journey. And in fact, don't let anybody tell you anything. Go experiment. This is your life. This is your exploration. So discover it for yourself. Now, it's not hard to do a past life at all. Um, it's very simple, and there are folks who teach, and I've done this work and I've taught this work, this very lengthy, long, intensive past life regression that takes many, many hours, maybe multiple sessions. And that is pretty cool. And it always brings up a lot of stuff. And that's one way to do it. I think it has a lot of value. And there are other ways to do this, however, that's really instant. Intuition is instantaneous. And so there is no time. Everything is in nowness. So we can just as easily go into a past life regression simply by going there and skipping all the hours of preparation. We can do this with a little practice. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. And again, the other thing is when you are entering into this space to not have the expectation or to let go of outcome over what you're going to see in this other version of yourself. It's really not necessary for your personal soul growth that you've existed as Cleopatra or Elvis or whoever it is. Most people, at least the people in the life circle that I'm in, don't have those kind of celebrity lifestyles. They're really ordinary, everyday kind of the householder lifestyle, like a farmer, a peasant, a mother, a father, a child, a carpenter, these types of simple lives. And yet, in terms of the soul growth, there's nothing simple about it at all. These are rich lives loaded with opportunities to learn soul lessons and to expand our hearts. So, remembering also that each of us experiences a continuation of lifetimes that expand back into the past and forward into the future, and then include here we are in this present one. And I don't really know how many lifetimes we get. Some people think it's infinite, some people think there's a specific number. Um, I don't know. As my own experiment when I was working heavily in past lives, at that time, I would every day I would go into multiple past life regressions and see what past lives came up to sort of see if I could get through them all, right? I just like, can I do 10 today? Or I would not 10, but I would try and see like how many different ones I could experience. And pretty soon I realized that there was no end to the different past lives that were coming up when I was doing this experiment. And I realized that if I spent all of my life looking at my past lives, I would actually not be living in this life. And so, you know, we're going to look back for information that relates to this life, but we're not going to go live in this world. And we're not going to live in this world either of the future. We're going to live right now. It's just that's what we're here for, and that's the best place for us to be. Now, it is useful if you did face a certain soul lesson in a past life and you didn't resolve it, you didn't work through that karma, chances are good you're going to come into that again now. Best thing to wrap it up now so you don't have to redo it in the future. So that's really good information. And that's one of the reasons we go into past lives, to sort of look at the karmic progress we're making, look at the soul lessons we're working on, and see if we can get closer on um, coming to solution for some of those big karmic questions that we're always working on. So, um, the other thing about past lives is that sometimes past life regression, whether it's the lengthy kind or the quicker version, that instantaneous version that I teach, it can feel more intense than other types of meditation journeys. Um, we would want to say that um, we would want to say that this is because we are going into situations where the lifestyle is pretty different than what we're experiencing now. If you're going into, say, you show up in a medieval market, and that's a pretty rough life experience compared to what most of us, experience now in the modern world. So we're not used to that level of physicality. We're not used to a lot of the sights or smells or um, rowdiness or violence or cruelty that we maybe are seeing in an older, less enlightened time. So just being aware, it can be a little intense, or sometimes we'll drop into past lives where maybe we're finding ourselves in the middle of unrest or violent situation or political situation that was whatever was going on in that place of the world where we were living. And so understanding that it can be a little more intense, and this is okay. This is okay. You're going to be fine in this world. You don't suffer the same things that are happening to you when you're visiting. So going into past life, you do commit to the mystery. You're walking in the mystery. You're walking blind. We don't have memory, or we don't have clear memory of who we used to be. And so when we go and explore these realms, we don't know what's going to happen or who's around the next corner or what the events were. We have to sort of go there with a sense of adventure. And finally, I want to just really bring up this other idea about time. We think past lives are like the be all and end all, but really just going into the past, say visiting a memory, even a recent memory or a past event, a year ago, a couple weeks ago, 10 years ago, we can also, going into the past, we can experience these kind of everyday soul memories for profound healing. And we can open up past soul memories that we've forgotten They're there, but we've sort of numbed out from them, or we've blocked them, or they're just sort of repressed, or we just haven't dusted them off for a while. And we can also, when we go into the past in this lifetime, we can energetically redo and correct traumatic soul memories. So, in other words, we don't need to go all the way into a past life for profound healing. We can just actually go, here we are now, we could just go into the past. Maybe even as little as a week ago or a minute ago, we can revisit and reframe and redo experiences along the time continuum, because everything is now. And so, whatever we're experiencing now filters and changes the vibrational level of everything else. So it's very useful to open up past memories that we've forgotten. And so instead of revisiting the same track of memories, or the groove that create our story and the groove that creates our narrative, we can jump into these spaces we've forgotten and sort of look at what's there and reframe it a new way. So, as an example, and this is a little different than like in psychotherapy, you go into past memory and explore it. But in this work, we're talking about you go into a past memory that you've forgotten. You go into meditation, it comes into you, you're like, oh, I forgot all about that. Here we are. Maybe it's a painful experience. And then you can put that in perspective with, so here's that painful memory. And right next to it is this beautiful memory. And here's another beautiful memory. And here's another. And here's another. And here's another. And so we can open up our narrative and jump into spaces we've forgotten, and look at these hundreds or thousands of other memories that are dormant, that are breathtakingly beautiful and healing. And we can allow these also, not just the painful thing that keeps bothering us, but the beautiful thing, we can remember that. And again, it isn't in a past life, it's in this life now. We can work in that time dimension to correct. So, a new memory, or more exactly, an old memory remembered, it really can change everything. An old memory remembered. And it's like discovering a long lost part of us and being able to greet that part of us again in a new way. It allows us to integrate parts of ourselves that we've forgotten. Um, and again, we can also we can work in memory to redo past trauma. So in some cases, we can almost like erase the event from the time continuum. Or you can go to the moment before a traumatic event happened and reroute the chain of events to be something different. Um, there's a lot to say here, and it's really best to just try it for yourself. But really phenomenal, interesting work that really shifts your whole perspective about your entire life. It's like you're no longer focused on these little grooves of trauma that create a narrative. Instead, you're focusing on the whole picture. The whole picture. You're not just looking at the one pearl that is bad or junky on a string of pearls. You're looking at the entire string of pearls, that every single moment is beautiful. And actually, even the ones that are yucky are also beautiful too. The main thing is we're going to understand, in working with past life regression, and we're working with past memory reframing or redoing, we're working with the idea that everything is actually happening in now, past, present, future, all at the same time. And so we can trust that the universe, when we work in now, we can trust that the universe can work with us to shift any part of our time continuum and our understanding of our soul's journey in this lifetime. So if you want to go deeper, it's really fascinating work. Go to Sara Wiseman, then courses, and then go to the Past Life Project. I'm Sara Wiseman. Thanks for listening.